don't think men are good people.
Hold on, what?
The reason for that is, like, for men to do things that they consider small in the flesh of, like, cheating. You know that that's going to destroy your partner, but you do it anyway. That's not a mistake. We've watched the same story over and over again.
Yeah.
And just because I'm a woman, I'm supposed to accept your betrayal.
Right.
I get that she's been through, you know, an experience that reflects men to be cheats. I get it. That's her reality. That's her experience. So I empathize with the fact that she maybe her experience opened her up to the fact that, or to the knowledge that these men around her, or these men that she's been with, or this man that she's been with that cheated on her, expected her to have this kind of response towards his misbehavior. And, you know, it could still be a mistake, but we don't want to go into whether it is a mistake or it's not a mistake or whatever. But cheating is never right, be it a mistake
because you're taking advantage of my love for you, and I'm supposed to just be the one behind you riding or dying. I'm not dying with nobody.
Also, obviously, I get it. Obviously, she's been hurt. I mean, I'm not riding with nobody. That tells you, just the energy that came with that phrase tells you how angry she is. So she's been hurt, and she's very angry, which explains quite a bit, you know, the general statement, all men are bad people.
And to see girls come up to me, I'm the girl they come up to all day long crying. They tell me the most disgusting of stories that I couldn't even believe. And a lot of times men, the wrong man, will stunt your growth as a woman.
All of these girls coming to you, telling you this stuff, and it's all the stuff they tell you. Obviously, like, my take on this, obviously, is, I mean, no one is going to come to you. I mean, given the kind of public life you've had, the kind of public figure you are, and how your history or your story has been publicized, and people have seen you, all of these young women have seen you go through the hurt that you've gone through. They relate with you. So, which is why the women that come to you are the women that have similar issues. Now, the women that are going through these things that you're talking about, the women that are in this type of relationships. Obviously, somebody who is living in a good relationship, or somebody who's living a happy and nice relationship, is not going to come up to you during your shows, or like you say, all of the women that come up to you, you're only going to get the kind of women that represent the energy that you're putting out. So you're putting out this energy of this person, and having lived this very public life of this person whose hurt has been publicized as much, you're going to attract those kind of women. So 90, even 100% of the people that are going to come to you to complain or to moan are the people that have been through what you've been through and that they've seen, and that also responding to the energy that you're putting out. Well, obviously somebody else who is looked upon as a professional or as a guru or as some kind of expert in this area, Derek Jackson obviously had some words to say about it. I'm gonna let you listen to it yourself, or I'm gonna let you watch it and see what he's got to say about it. I mean, I agree with him on some of it, not all of it, but I agree with him on some of it. But let's watch it.
Kids in Chicago that are committing crimes, but hypothetically, let's say you have a son or a daughter. That doesn't mean that your son or daughter is a bad person because kids over there are doing wrong, even though those things are actually happening. So I think that's a generalized statement to say all men are bad. I think all men can be better, the same way that women can. We could speak to the things that we're doing wrong in terms of holding us accountable. But whenever you say all men are bad, you're almost giving them a pass to continue being bad, and that I'm not for.
I can't give them the pass to do nothing. They've been clowns for years. So there's not a pass I can give. Men like to take that and make women be the blame for why they're acting like that or this and that. Yes, I have been in some relationships and they haven't been good for me. You know, but it's not just me that I'm basing.
Well, she kind of contradicts herself a lot. I mean, if you look further, if you watch the video much earlier and watch a lot further, expand shit on the interview, the whole thing, you would hear her talk about, you know, how the way she behaved is based on how the industry was. I mean, she does a lot of name calling and finger pointing. Like I said, I do relate with her, but I'm going to call her out on some of the things that she does, where she does a lot of finger pointing and blaming and name calling and all this stuff. The industry made you do this way, or somebody makes you feel a certain way, or somebody makes you do certain things. They make you do the breast implants, or they make you do the butt implant, or I mean, I believe that whatever we do to ourselves, we can be influenced by others, but primarily speaking, the decision is ours. Whatever we do to ourselves is down to our choices, our decision, our choices, what we decide to do. So it doesn't matter what somebody tells you. It doesn't matter how they treat you. It doesn't matter what they say to you. It's your responsibility, or it's you who has to take responsibility for your actions on yourself. So everything that we do, we have control over every of our actions. We decide what we do or what we don't do. It doesn't matter what anybody else tells us. We decide what we do or what we don't do. I do agree that there are some factors that could really play on our psychology or on our mentalities, that could push us to a certain directions, but primarily you're still responsible for what you do. So the way I see it, growth and change comes from taking responsibility for your actions. Now, if she's able to take responsibility for her actions, fully take responsibility, not look like you're taking responsibility, not act like you're taking responsibility, or not make it seem like you're taking responsibility, but fully and willingly take whole responsibility for your actions, you won't find any change. What I can see what she's done to herself is she's let all these external influence kind of affect her judgment on what to do for herself, on herself. And now, having recognized or having realized that, she's still blaming others and other entities for the decisions that she made. And she makes the excuse for all of these other women that are doing all these things to themselves based on what they've had. Like, so we all have insecurities. I'm not gonna sit here and we all have insecurities in ourselves. But what we do as a result of those insecurities is still our decision at the end of the day. And it's bad. It's worse for some people, obviously, because some external factors could play heavier on some people that could cause them to do even more damage to themselves. But at the end of the day, you still, bottom line, for you to be able to grow from something, for you to be able to grow past an experience that you've been through, you have to take responsibility for the part you had to play in making that experience. Unless you're able to take responsibility, because change happens from within. It's not from out without. It happens from within. So unless you're able to take responsibility for the role you had to play in every experience that you've been through, or in whatever experiences that you've been through, it's hard. It's going to be really hard for you to move on, because you keep finding yourself at that very place. She's created this wall around herself and cocooned herself in this belief that all men are bad because of the experiences that she's had. Mind you, women have the power. You have the power. Whatever man you end up with, you choose to be with that person. It doesn't matter what they tell you. They can't force you. Obviously, we know of the criminal aspects of all of these force, a man forcing themselves on a woman. We can establish that there's certain criminal aspects to that. And we're not going to go, because we're not talking about criminal activities here. We're talking about what you do for yourself, what you think you're doing for yourself that you think is good for you. You choose. These men that come your way, you choose. Looking at, when you listen to the interview further, you can see her scope of how she goes from this person that was raised by her dad to this kind of person that wants to be with a hood boy, or with a hood nigga, or with a fuck boy, or whatever you want to call it. So her choices on the kind of man she wants to be, and she still talks about it. She still talks about it, even in the interview, she still talks about it. So you're choosing these people that are hurting you. Choose them. So you have to be able to take responsibility for the part that you had to play in whatever it is that happened to you, because you enable that stuff. You chose the man that you wanted to be with, and then he comes around and he's not the one you expected, or he's not what you expected, or maybe he's what you expected, but he doesn't. You can't eat your cake and have it. He doesn't hit all the spectrums that you want. Who is white and black at the same time. You can't want green and red at the same time. Like, one color can't be two colors. It just doesn't make any sense. You can't take two opposites and get them. You can't expect two opposite characteristics from the same person. Very rare. It is very rare. If you want somebody who is a bad boy, or whatever, a hood person, whatever you want to call it, they're gonna come hood, and they're gonna bring whatever characteristics come with being from the hood. You might have a few people with some other colors to them, but they will come with all of those things. You can't expect to have a chameleon who doesn't eat insects. It doesn't make any sense. So you're asking for these people, you're going and you're choosing, you're making a decision, you're making a conscious choice to be with certain people, and the experience doesn't pan out, doesn't turn out. So you're sabotaging your own ability to have a good relationship, and you're still doing it. She still continues to sabotage her ability to have a good relationship, because now what she's done is she's taken her experience, which is very limited, I should say, very limited experience on this man that she's been with, or this man that she's been with has been abusive to her. She's taken and used it as a parameter to be able to describe all the men, to define all men. And that's wrong. That's not the right message to put across. What you're doing is you're encouraging young females to keep believing that men are just bad. And so when they go into these relationships, they expect the worst. They keep expecting the worst. And even when there's nothing wrong happening, you're looking for what's wrong with the relationship all the time. That's why women go into relationships now looking for what's wrong with the relationship all the time. I'm talking about good relationships, of course. I'm not saying that there's no bad men out there. There's bad men out there as well as there's bad women. There's women that can't be trusted as well as there's men that can't be trusted. So all of this goes around. So what? So like Derrick Jackson said, because one of the eggs is bad, the whole tray is done. So every time that something is not right, you're gonna get rid of everything that came with it. Because your kid has one bad tooth, you're gonna get rid of all the teeth. Or a school produced one bad seed, you're gonna dismantle the whole school. It doesn't work that way. So you can't say all men are bad, because all men aren't bad. Just the men you chose to be with are bad. So unfortunately, it's really sad because this is something, I mean, except God and Obama. Even Obama is flawed. Or except Jesus and Obama. Even Obama is flawed. We're all flawed. Our ability to recognize our flaws and rise above them or seek improvement is what makes us good humans. It's not us being perfect. So I really feel sad for her, because what I think has happened is she's had this limited experience and it has defined her identity of what a man is, or what she understands the identity of a man is, because the things that she's expected from this man have never come the way she wanted, even though she's the one that's chosen them. Technically, she's responsible, if not partly, mostly responsible for the experiences she's been through, because she chose these men. I mean, when you make a choice and the choice comes to bite you in the ass, you can't keep now blaming everyone else for your irresponsible decision making. So the way I see it, like I said, I empathize with her experiences. Now, we as men are not meant to treat women the way that she was treated. So I empathize with the fact that she's talking based on her reality. But generalizing it is not a good thing to do, especially in a public forum. Generalizing that stuff is not a good thing to do. And continuing to encourage this generalized belief is not healthy. Not for her, not for any of the young women that listen to her, because I know she's got quite a following. So not to any of the young women that listen to her. So she needs to take responsibility for some of her actions. I'm not talking specifically I'm talking, I mean, if you've been in a relationship or if you've had any experience that you've not had the best out of, the best way for you to move on and seek better, or seek to be better, or become better for the experience or from that experience, is by also owning and taking responsibility for what role you had to play in materializing or in making that experience materialize itself in your life. So whatever role you had to play in those experiences, you have to be willing to accept the role. You have to be willing to take responsibility for your actions in that sense. That's the only way you're going to find a way to make better choices, better decisions, because once you accept that you partly played a role, then you now can start investigating. You can start looking within to see what you can change in order to influence your upcoming decisions or your decision making in the future. You can see what you can change within yourself, because when you continue to blame other people and blame other entities and point fingers away from you, there's nothing that you can do. You're putting yourself in a position not to be able to do anything. Because you can't change people or entities that way. You have to start to change yourself first. You can't.
So there you have it, folks. That's my own take on what she said about men being bad. So, well, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, then click the subscribe button. Don't forget to crack that notification button for when I upload a new video. Also, like, share, and comment if you do agree with what I said. If you don't agree, I still welcome your criticism. So feel free to comment down below. And thanks again for stopping by and checking out the video. I will leave a link to the full video in the description section down below. So feel free to check that out if you want to watch the whole interview on what she said about, her experience with men and why she thinks all men are bad people. But again, thanks again for stopping by, and it's been your boy Divine Fonye. Catch you on the next video.